Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome to this segment of Coach Gurbani's a-sabad-a-day. The recitation is from Sri Rag Ki War, Mahalla Chautha. Salok Mahalla Tija, Satgur ke Bhaney jo Chalai, tis vadiyai vaddi hoye. Har ka naam uttam man vasai, मेट न सकै कोय. किरपा करे जिस आपनी तिस कर्म प्राप्त होए. नानक कारण करते वस है, गुरमुख बूझै कोय. महला तीजा. नानक हर नाम जिनी आराध्या, अन दिन हर लिवतार. माया बंदी खसम की तिन अग्गै कमावे कार. पूरे पूरा कर छोड़िया, हुक्म सवारण हार. गुर प्रसादी जिन बुझिया, तिनी पाया मोख द्वार. मनमुख हुक्म न जाननी, तिन मारे जम जंदार. गुरमुख जिनी आराध्या, तिनी तरया भौजल संसार. सब अवगुण गुणी मिटाया, गुर आपे बख्शन हार. पौड़ी. हर की भगतां प्रतीत हर सब किछ जानदा. हर जेवड़ नाही कोई, जान हर धर्म विचारदा. काड़ा अंदेसा क्यों कीजै, जा नाही अधर्म मारदा. सच्चा साहिब सच न्याओ, पापी नर हारदा. सलाहियों भगतों कर जोड़, हर भगत जन तारदा. So the enlightener's instructions, that is the Satgur's instructions, when followed, are rewarded with the greatest gift. Satgur ke Bhaney jo chalai, tis vadiyai vaddi hoye. And pray, what is this gift? It is the most precious of all gifts, the gift of self-knowledge, which cannot be erased. Har ka naam uttam man vasai, मेट न सके कोई. So it is self-knowledge that then gives us the rare insight. And here is why it's so precious. Because of the insight that there is but one ultimate cause of everything. Nanak karan karte vas hai, gurmukh bujhe koi. So this is a rarity, this insight. And this is the essence of spiritual wisdom. And it comes from the inside. It's self-knowledge. And it comes not because we want it, but because we live in a way that invites it. So therefore, just asking for it is not enough. One has to create conditions within one's life so that this self-knowledge and insight appears spontaneously. Recall that we have often mentioned that the way or the path of the Satgur is not like obtaining any other kind of knowledge. This is self-knowledge, it's direct, it's intuitive. Just as an example, being able to smell the fragrance of a rose versus trying to describe it. One could describe it with words, but never really catch the essence of that fragrance until one smells it. And when one smells it, one just knows. And sometimes there's no need to even describe. So therefore, we should not confuse the Satgur's teaching with academic learning, as if you are listening to a teacher deliver a lecture on a certain subject. This is not that kind of a system, strictly speaking, but what the Satgur is really trying to do with us is to cultivate within us a different outlook to life than the one that the ego consciousness has. The Satgur gives us what might be termed as a mystical way of looking at the world. It looks into the world as a mystery that has to be solved, sensed. So in this passage, the Guru, the Satguru, gives the learner the insight, as we said, that there is only one principle at work, despite the diversity that we perceive. The world is an integrated whole, not a collection of parts, and the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. So it follows, therefore, that we cannot think of ourselves as isolated, autonomous agents. We are part of a much larger network. And those who gain this insight, Nanak Haranam Jin Aradhya, they then experience a fundamental paradigm shift in how they view the world. And because they have this insight, they then operate differently. They become centered within, they are more balanced, andin harlivtar, and begin to move in harmony with nature and its laws. Hukam, Maya Bandi Khasam ki, tin agge kamave kar, pura kar shodya, hukam swaran har. They become creative as a result. The resources of the universe are laid out in front of them. They are no longer reactive, but proactive. And this is the road to freedom. Guru Prasadi Jina Bujya, those who harmonize, those who discern hukam, Dinapaya Mokhadwar, they've found the door to freedom. Now, at the opposite end of the spectrum is the manmukh, or the ego self, or ego consciousness, which lacks this perspective and therefore swims against the current of life. Manmukh hukam na janani. For a manmukh, then, life becomes a ceaseless struggle and a failing proposition. Then mare jam jandar. So we have to realize that the ego consciousness that we have is the most basic structure of the mind. And it comes into existence through a process of identification with external objects. And that is where it gets trapped, which is why we have to retreat inwards to understand our authentic nature. So the essential lesson here is that our true selves are a part of this universe, that the universe is a whole that is constantly expressing itself through its parts, that is us. Grasping this truth about the wholeness of nature will restore to us the self-awareness that we need to function optimally. We are a finite experience of the infinite. And with those thoughts, until the next time, Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.